What's going on, guys? We're back for another week of Fashion Souls. I'm your host, Dutchysaurus. Let's get started. Alright guys, this week I've got a little something special for you guys. A character I call the Judgement. This week's character was inspired by Nero Lintic, who talked about a yin-yang character he thought of. I took your idea and I kinda butchered it, but anyway, here's the result. Here's the lore. As humans are enveloped by the undead curse, they push inexorably forward towards their goal, whatever that may be. Along the way they have many interactions with other undead. They may hunt them, kill them, help them, hinder them. All these interactions are established grey interactions. What is evil to one may be fair to another, and so on. With this view, a regimental order is incapable of being established. Or is it? With all these undead gliding along their own paths, who is to set them along the right path? As this predicament dawned upon the gods, they began to weave a plan to bring themselves back into the hearts of these lost souls. The Judgement, both a group and an individual at the same time. Members of the Judgement never meet in battle. The Judgement were once undead, but were given divine and demonic weapons, and descended along a path of moral excellence. They were made to see the world as only two colours, black and white. Their fighting style closely matches this belief. Alright, onto the build itself. This was amazingly fun to use, and I'll explain why in a minute. The basic armor rundown is the full Llewellyn set with the Drangleic helm, and I chose this armor specifically because it looks good in white, which I'll also explain in a sec. The ring is where it gets a bit interesting. One ring in particular. In this build, I run the white ring. Now the reason is, if you haven't figured it out, is that for the first half of the fight, or until I lose half health, I use the white ring along with my holy weapons, which are the Watcher's shield and the Hyde Knight's sword. Then when I lose half my health, I take the ring off and quickly swap to my demonic weapons, my Smelter sword and Defender shield. The other rings I use are the Clarenthy ring +2 and both equip load rings. This build was so interesting to use. Its basic trump card is about halfway through the match I'm switching playstyles completely and can really confuse opponents. I also switch which hand I'm holding my sword and shield in to really shake them up. An interesting thing you could also do is use the Moonlight Greatsword for the first half, Smelter Demon until you're at 25% health, and then Jill Stance them both. I would love to see that. Trust me, if you use the ring in this way, you'll get so many messages, it's crazy. I get about 7 just making the footage for this video, but I suppose I should stop raving and continue the analysis. Alright, the advantages. First off, it can be really confusing to players, especially if you swap hands and when you lose the white glow from the white ring. Also, a side note for that, a lot of people I fought didn't know that you can parry with the shield in the right hand, so that's a bit of a surprise. Another advantage is that, especially I noticed with my setup, it was really light even without the equip load ring, so you could potentially use even stronger and with perhaps some poise. Alright, that's it for advantages. I hate to say it, but this build is not quite as advantageous to use from a PvP standpoint, but it's still pretty cool. Now, disadvantages. Having to give up a ring slot for at least half the match, if not more, is not the best thing you could do. Another is that if you stick hard and fast to the 50% health rule, your weaponry is really limited. I mean, I could have potentially been using both weapons at the same time, but I chose not to. So keep that in mind if you're going to make a similar build. This is just what I chose to do with it. You have so many other options you can do with this. Final disadvantage is that you have no ranged weaponry unless you keep a couple of throwing knives, so just be wary of that. Anywho, I haven't really got too much to add for this build, but I tell you what, it was almost the most fun I've had playing Dark Souls 2, excluding my Happy Larry video. If you haven't seen that, I'll provide a link here. Shameless self-plug, anyone? Anywho guys, if you post your suggestions around, if I think it can make it work, I'll use your suggestions and add you into the next video, complete with a little plug with your name, so that's nice. Another thing, if this build interested you enough to want to make it, be sure to send me a link or picture so I can see it for myself. I would love that. I can't give away the armor set this week guys because this is my main PvP armor, but if you want any of the weapons shown, just be sure to leave your Xbox 360 gamer tag in the comments and then we'll sort something out. Thanks for watching everyone, see you next time.